They won't know why your name lingers in their thoughts, why your silence feels louder than anyone else's presence, but they will feel it. An itch they can't scratch, a thought they can't unthink. It starts subtly, a glance, a tone, a pause that stretches just slightly too long. And slowly, their mind becomes a room you never entered, yet never left. This is not infatuation. It's not love. It's influence, sculpted with surgical intent. It is the long game of possession without ownership. And no one mastered this art better than Niccolò Machiavelli. Machiavelli didn't speak of obsession in the way poets do. He didn't chase romance. He dismantled power. Yet, his insight into human nature laid the groundwork for one of the most effective psychological strategies ever conceived. He knew something most don't, that control is rarely about presence. It is almost always about absence, because when you withhold, the mind fills in the blanks. And that, he realized, is where influence truly lives. If you want someone to orbit around you, to center their actions, words, and identity on your gravitational pull, you do not start by giving. You start by retreating. You create silence. Strategic, intentional silence. You let mystery fester, because when someone is uncertain about where they stand with you, they begin to question themselves. That questioning is the seed of obsession, not affection, not attention. Ambiguity. It is the unclosed loop that keeps them awake, the puzzle that rewrites itself just when they think they've solved it. Machiavelli wrote that men are driven by two forces, love and fear. But there is a third force more potent than both. Not attraction, not desire, but the need to understand, to decode. Obsession is born in that space between craving and comprehension. You don't need to be everywhere. You need to be unpredictable. You become their unfinished sentence, their almost. Don't answer right away. Don't reveal your hand. Machiavelli mastered the power of delay. When kings pressed for his loyalty, he gave them riddles. When enemies sought his position, he vanished into ambiguity. And that kept him in power. When you delay your affection, your presence, your validation, you create space for imagination to do the work. And imagination is always more powerful than reality. Obsession does not form around facts. It forms around suggestion. You appear, briefly, then withdraw. You give, slightly, then vanish. Each encounter becomes a thread in their mind they tug on, hoping the next one gives them more clarity. It never does. Because you are not here to be understood. You are here to be pursued. And the pursuit only continues when the goal remains just out of reach. Certainty is the enemy of obsession. Never give it freely. When they begin to lean in, you pull back. When they reveal themselves, you offer only fragments in return. Just enough to spark connection. Just enough to suggest a deeper layer. But never enough to let them know if they've truly touched you. Because the mind doesn't fixate on what it knows. It fixates on what it almost knows. Now that they're interested, now that their mind is circling, you mirror. Not perfectly, not fully. You echo them in shadows. You reflect their values, their fears, their ambitions, but slightly altered, slightly blurred. You become the version of themselves they most want to be, yet can't fully grasp. This is Machiavelli's true genius, not in manipulation, but in reflection, strategic reflection. You don't copy who they are, you embody who they wish they could become. They want confidence, you offer calm certainty, laced with mystery. They crave depth, you show a hint of sorrow behind your smile, then change the subject. They desire connection, you lock eyes too long, then look away. You give them fragments, and those fragments become the fuel for their fantasies. You are no longer a person to them, you are an idea. And ideas are immortal. Begin now to train their desire, not through consistency, but through chaos, intermittent reinforcement, reward, then rejection, warmth, then coldness, engage, then disappear. Never in patterns, never with predictability. Their brain will try to find logic in your actions. It won't. And so it keeps spinning. Seeking meaning, seeking reward. That seeking becomes a habit becomes need becomes obsession. You are not giving them love. You are giving them the possibility of love. And possibility is more addictive than certainty. Gamblers don't play for money. They play for the hope of money. Likewise, obsession isn't about what they feel when they're with you. It's about what they fear when they're not. Machiavelli understood that humans are haunted more by what they lack than what they have. He didn't offer comfort. He offered proximity to power. That was his allure. You must do the same. Do not present yourself as a sanctuary. Present yourself as a storm they want to survive. People remember pain, but they obsess over the one who understood it. Become the place their wounds feel seen, not healed, seen. You do not fix them. You simply witness them without judgment. And in that space, they confuse observation with intimacy. That confusion binds them to you. They will tell you things they've never told others, not because you asked, but because your silence gave them permission. And now, their secrets live with you. That bond is sacred and dangerous. You become their safe place, but you are not safe. You are still a mystery. You are still a question mark in the shape of a person, and so they cling harder. Because leaving you would feel like abandoning the only one who gets it. You become not their partner, but their mirror. And mirrors, when cracked just slightly, are impossible to stop looking into. You begin shaping their identity. You call out the best in them. But only sometimes. You plant seeds. You're the only one who sees through this noise. You feel more than most people, don't you? Now, they associate your presence with clarity, with insight, with feeling alive. Take that away and the world feels dull. They don't crave you. They crave the version of themselves you allowed them to be. This is Machiavelli at his peak. Influence, not through force, but through reflection. Make them feel seen in a way no one else has, and then make that vision scarce. They will fight to keep it. They will fight to keep you. And when they feel secure, shake the ground, not violently, subtly. Start pulling back. Go quiet. Let the silence whisper louder than your words. Let the doubt creep in, not as punishment, as preservation. You are protecting your aura. You are maintaining the myth. Because myths only live in distance. The moment they can touch you fully, you lose your power. They stop chasing. So you never let them hold all of you. Just enough to feel close. Just enough to feel chosen. And just enough to fear losing you. Your disappearance should feel like a question, not an answer. Did I say something wrong? Did I lose their respect? That is the fear you embed. Not that they'll lose your affection, but that they'll lose their worth in your eyes. And now, they'll adjust. They'll conform, not to your commands, but to your silence. You begin to shape their behavior, through energy, not explanation. You don't set rules. You become the standard. You reward not their love, but their alignment. When they reflect your values, you offer praise. When they drift, you offer distance. And so they return, again and again, chasing not your body but your approval. And once someone chases your approval, you own the compass they use to navigate themselves. Now you implant memory. You don't just exist in their life. You start rewriting it. You say things like, "Remember how quiet you got when we passed that bookstore? I could tell something shifted." Even if nothing did, now it has. Because emotion rewires memory, and memory builds identity. You become the author of their past. Machiavelli didn't force loyalty, he crafted legacy. He became the voice in the back of kings' minds when they made decisions. You must do the same. Become the voice they hear in moments of doubt, the standard they measure new connections against. No one else will compare, because no one else haunts like mystery. No one else heals like almost. Leave behind anchors, a word only you use, a song, a phrase, a way of looking at them that lingers long after you look away. These are the fingerprints you press onto their psyche. You do not stay, you echo, you do not explain, you imprint, and now, even in silence, you speak. When you return, you are different, sharper, colder, more refined. You have changed, slightly, but noticeably. They will chase what they lost, not realizing they never had it. They will blame themselves. They will try harder. Because obsession isn't just about wanting you. It's about not being able to return to who they were before you. You must let them wonder if they ever truly knew you, because once someone begins to question their own memory of you, they no longer trust their feelings, and that is when they trust yours more. They stop navigating with their own compass. They borrow yours. Machiavelli knew real power isn't held, it is granted. You do not demand to be followed. You become the ideal they choose to follow. They tell themselves it was their decision, their pursuit, their obsession. You never asked for it, you simply became it. And that is the final form of influence. Not control through force, but control through story. You become not just part of their life. You become the narrative they tell themselves. About love, about desire, about who they are when they are with you.